2.5 hour drive for me.
Oh.
And the second it is done, I can be in the car and leave. The second it's done.
Man. You know, if Southern Louisiana, it'd be, my gosh, that'd be like a 24-hour car ride.
Yeah.
That would suck.
The only thing is sometimes because you're driving, people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I have to leave and go to the airport. And then every once in a while you get wrapped up in that. But
yeah, that's one of the nice things about flying, I think, is like you're like, okay, I have to go. But now you have to drive. You're like, oh, you can. It's only 3 hours. I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still preferable to drive because you just throw everything in the car.
So do you ever come up to Vegas on just a whim and just for pleasure, since it's 3 hours?
Well, there's a ton of matches here in Vegas, some really, really big ones. So I come here a lot for competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never just to hang out.
No.
No.
You're like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I
go shoot.
That is.
Like, that's all I do. I go shoot.
I don't know anything else.
That's funny. Uh-oh. We're about to go live, folks.
Nice.
Uh-oh, here we go. All right. And we are live here at SHOT Show 2019. This is Gun Talk Live presented by Palmetto State Armory. And we are here with Colt, okay? And if you don't know him, I guess get out from under that rock. This is Justin, and this is Maggie. So we were just briefly talking about how many years we have at SHOT Show, and it always kind of seems, it always seems familiar.
Yeah.
And now, Justin, you are on year.
So this is 11 for me. So I got 10 years in Vegas, and then the first one I actually went to was 09, which was in Orlando, which was, it's very different. It's the problem with Orlando is sort of like, you're driving everywhere, whereas Vegas, it's like you get to the Strip and like everything's kind of here, everybody's staying here. Orlando Convention Center, there's really not a whole lot in like immediate walking distance.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Orlando, like that Orange County Convention Center. I mean, it's a long walk too, even for the guys who are getting here and and driving to the ranges. Here it's not that far, and you guys were out at Range Day yesterday, and you guys were really, really busy. But before we get into what's new from Colt, how many years for you?
I'm thinking about 8 years, and I've actually only ever done Vegas. So I have a system.
Really?
Yes, I cannot go anyplace else. I've got the system down, my hotel room, how I navigate. Like you said, it's condensed, it's packed. I won't go anywhere else.
Nowhere else.
Florida, you're just out.
You're done.
Just cut me from the team. I'm done. I only do Vegas.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I've been to one in Orlando, and then the rest of them have been in Vegas.
Yeah.
Which is actually nice. If you guys don't know, I am monitoring comments. I'm not ignoring Maggie and Justin. I know a lot of people who are like, well, why are you on your computer? Well, we're monitoring your comments. So if you guys have a question about Colt, ask them. They're here. They're for you. So, okay, big news. It's back.
Oh, yeah, it's back.
Right? It's back. So the King is back. I don't know if you guys can you guys see this? Are you catching this?
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So the King is back, and give us a run on. Give us a little brief history about the snake gun line.
Well, I can talk about the King Cobra for sure. So the original King Cobra came out, I think it was 1986, was the first year for what I'll call the original King Cobra. It was kind of a departure from the traditional Colt format for revolvers at the time. It wasn't a leaf spring gun; it was actually a coil spring gun. They did that really more for manufacturability. If you go back to all those the other snake guns, starting really in the 50s with the Python, they were all like really heavily sort of hand fitted, and a lot of people think of that as sort of there's a pride of craftsmanship for sure on all those guns, but the reason for it was sort of like the parts were made on very old machines. A lot of them were like converted from like overhead belt drive, which is how factories used to run 60 years ago, and then in the 80s, we had CNC equipment, things like that. And what they wanted to do was create something that was a little more assemblable and a little less like, it's some incredible craftsman is sitting there hand filing every piece to get it to fit together.
Right.
So the original King Cobra was that. It was a medium-size, mid-size revolver. So it was a little bit. Similar to the Python in that regard, just in the fact that they were a mid-sized revolver. But other than that, they were completely different guns. like I said, that coil spring shared that design with the Anaconda also.
Yeah.
And you know, they were great guns. People love them. I have one. I love it.
Right.
And but what we wanted to do was really come out with something that, you know, we brought out the Cobra in 2017. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. I remember the media day when we released it. It was really funny because we had all these gun writers in the room. We had 40 gun writers, and we went through all the other products that we were going to release for 2018, or I'm sorry, for 2017, and then we like pretty much we almost like ended the presentation. You know, I ended my part of the presentation, and then we basically brought up and just started talking about double action revolvers, and it was like you could hear a pin drop in the room. It was incredible.
The energy was so good. I was
yeah.
sitting in the back of the room because you guys were in the front doing the presentation. I was sitting in the back of the room, and so I could kind of see the energy just ripple up through the crowd.
Yeah. So like we start tabbing through this PowerPoint, and we're doing this presentation, all the writers, and then all of a sudden it's like new for 2017. Here's the Colt Cobra,
right.
You know, 6-shot stainless, 38 special revolver, and like. I think it was, might have been day 48, was just like, whoa, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And you just like, it was the only
it
thing
was a
you were in
rush.
the room. Yeah, and it was great to be there for that moment. And, you know, really what happened was the second we released the Cobra, we started getting a lot of feedback from customers. You know, we knew we were going to go to 357 in that Cobra format. We knew it was going to happen the second we were working on the Cobra.
Right. But not so quick.
Yeah,
I mean, was it down the line?
Yeah, it was good, a little bit down the line. And what we did was at that moment we just got so overwhelmed with feedback about the 357. We were just like, it's got to get moved up. So
yeah.
we pulled it up to now. And
now
actually,
here it is. This is the moment for you guys.
So, these are actually already shipping and distribution. We kind of nailed this one right. We kind of did all our press releases about a week and a half ago. We're showing it here now.
Yep.
We showed it at a couple distributor shows that happened in January ahead of SHOT Show, and they're actually already shipping. So
they're already shipping.
It's a great.
We've got a couple questions on here. Bob Scott wants to know, what are the chances of adjustable sight versions?
Ooh, that is a great question, Bob Scott. So
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. We are looking. So the two pieces of feedback we've heard kind of loud and clear are longer barrel length and adjustable sight. I can tell you both of those pretty good would be the chances.
That's all we're looking for.
What I would say is, and I'll blink twice when I say, hey, we'll see you at NRA show this year in Indy in 2019, and you know, maybe we'll have something.
We'll have something to talk to you about.
And price point introductory right here.
It is. So it's $899 for this. I'll call this version of the King Cobra. This is sort of the 3-inch barreled, kind of defensive version of the gun. So it's the fixed sight version. We got the brass bead front sight on there from the factory, and I think one of the things that people are going to be pretty happy about, which may or may not. Sometimes you can't tell in pictures, but
right.
The finish on the gun is actually quite a bit different than the matte finish that's on the regular Cobra. So we actually, you know, the regular Cobra, I'll call it, is it really is a defensive, just like
right.
pocket pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, you know, it's not meant to be. Look, they're great revolvers. They're really nice, but it's not meant to be something that's like a showpiece or anything like that. I mean, we
right.
have other versions of it that are high polished, but the standard version is pretty matte. These are actually quite a bit nicer.
Well, and they're meant to shoot.
Yeah,
and I think we saw that out at the range yesterday. And I actually didn't get a chance to shoot this one, and I was kind of disappointed because the line was so long every time I went by. And Maggie, talk about the shootability of this gun, because I know Ryan and Tom absolutely loved it.
Yeah, this gun is great to shoot. And my background, I'm just a 1911 lover from way back when, through and through. But revolvers, that's what people always
right.
think about when they think about Colt. And this gun, it's so comfortable. We shot it in 357. It also shoots 38. And it really just feels good in the hand. And of
right.
course, when people come to Colt, they want a nice, smooth trigger. And
that's
the
what it's
action
about.
on this gun is really, really nice.
Yeah. Now they noticed the Hogue grip. I mean, it's just it feels good in your hand. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But they said the 357s, when they shot them, the recoil was negligible. There wasn't a lot.
Very manageable. It's very comfortable. We had both men and women coming through and shooting this gun, and positive feedback from everybody. It was very comfortable.
The straightened grip helps out a lot. We sort of straighten out that grip a little bit. Revolvers tend to really have like a really curved kind of backstrap. So straightening it out helped it a lot. And then the other thing is when you have a 3-inch full lug, stainless barrels, like you're putting a little bit of weight, like kind of directly in line with the bore. That really helps tame recoil.
Right.
So that's it's a great way to just kind of tame it down a little bit more.
Right, and it just looks good.
Yeah.
What about the release on here? What did you guys do anything new to it, or
no,
that's the Colt?
That is like classic
Yep.
Colt. It's funny because at this point it's kind of become a little bit of a joke. Smith & Wesson, of course, you kind of push a button in order to release
Yep.
it, and then you get Colt. And then you basically every Colt handgun, you pull it rearward. So they're all like that. They've always been all like that. It's really something that's I don't want to call it unique to Colt revolvers because there's a lot of other revolvers that actually do release that way. But we're pretty married to that. We like it, and it's kind of funny to hear people come in who hadn't shot a Colt double action revolver in years, who come in and say, yeah, I actually have a bunch, but I don't really shoot them much anymore because at this point they're so collectible and worth crazy money. And then there they are, they're shooting it, and they're like, yeah, that's the way. Of course, that's the way
feel.
it goes. Yeah, that's how that should go. So
yeah, they I've a bobbed hammer front and rear tritium sight model to follow, maybe.
Maybe. So we do have the Night Cobra in the, I'll call it the standard Cobra format in that 38, special format. I think we'll probably see something.
Okay.
For the 357
Great.
version.
And then Liverpool 11 asked if you guys are working. I know I love reading the names.
Yeah.
like it's like when you were back in like high school when email was like really starting to catch on,
Yeah.
and you like go create a name like. What's a good email name? We got our editors back here, and they're just laughing like high school football star 27 or something like that, and like that email follows you forever.
Yeah, then you're putting it on your resume, and it's like, oh gosh, I should have chosen something different.
Yeah, that's kind of bad. But are you guys working with Crimson Trace on any laser grips for this?
We are not. We'll see what happens with other. We'll see what happens with other accessories. Right now, I can tell you other accessories exist for it. Like the front sights are actually compatible with the regular Cobra and with the standard Cobra and the King. So all of the existing, there's a fiber optic front sight available. There's a tritium front sight available. Those will go right into here, kind of right out of the boat. Brownells carries those. And then the HK S speed loaders, so it's the DS speed loader would be the right speed loader for this. Those are available and kind of out there, but nothing in the way of laser grips quite yet.
Not yet. Now there's a lot that goes into this, and you guys get to see, the development of a gun go from, the thought process to now you're working with other companies to produce accessories for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
How far in advance are you guys usually ahead of this game? And I know this one came on kind of quick for you guys.
So from a ground up, this is a great example of a ground up pistol. I mean, there's really there's nothing there's no part of this that's shared with the old King Cobra, right? There's no part of this that's shared. Yeah, it's really the name, and so for something like that, it's really like 2 years would be exceedingly fast. It's more like 3-year period.
Oh,
so
man.
So when you're kind of in that last phase, and it's like you're kind of proving everything out, and you're endurance testing it. That's kind of the part where everybody's kind of on their toes a little bit, and it's like it can be heartbreaking. You'll take a gun and you'll shoot it up to 6,000 rounds, and something happens at the end where you're like, oh, that's not quite right, like at the very end, and then it's a little bit back to the drawing board. So it's funny that when you get toward the end, there's all these iterations of things that almost make the final cut, but that for whatever reason don't hold up to the firing schedule, and that's something we kind of pride ourselves on. We don't make guns that are going to last 1,500 rounds. We make guns that are going to go the distance.
Right.
So they can be those collectible items that go in the gun safe. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was talking with one of our editors a few weeks ago. Is that when you think about a Colt you think about heritage, you think about legacy, and I think that you guys have an absolute winner here. What else are you guys seeing? What's going to be the trend? Because Tom declared 2017, was that right? 2017, the year of the revolver. What do you think that trend is starting to continue, and people are still clamoring to get these?
You know, it's tough to say. I mean, my feeling on it is really like this is such a big deal. You know, for Colt to really be getting back into the snake gun series and to be coming out with a 357 revolver, it's such a big deal beyond. You know, beyond sort of the market kind of waves and trends that I think whether it is or isn't in the big market, like we are going to sell every one of these that we can manage to make. So, so it's, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. We've kind of been, as an industry, a little bit stagnant over the last couple of years, and there's like all sorts of little things going on. Like there's you know, the retro AR thing's a great example. Like that's been going on for a couple years now, and then like. You know, it's interesting that Mossberg and Remington in their TAC 14 Shockwave came out with those retro wood. So like I'm seeing a lot of sort of retro collectible kind of stuff generally in the industry. So, you know, and you could certainly say that revolvers are kind of a part of that too. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's interesting. You know, we'll see what happens. It's been Velcro and Molly backpacks for like a couple years now. So you know, we'll see what it rolls into next.
Well, all right. Well, this is Justin, Maggie, and I'm KJ. And if you don't have it, you need to go get it. King Cobra from Colt.